Before we even get into today's video, first thing I want to do is say thank you to everybody who dropped a like on the last LEGO Tips video. You guys knocked it out of the park. I don't expect you to leave the same amount of likes on this video, but
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And the first tip I want to go over are the crits you can get when you use the heavy attack. So normally when we hit a brute, we deal 18 damage when we don't crit, but if we jump and use our attack, we deal 36 damage. So you can pretty much double the damage by just jumping and attacking. So yeah, now that heavy attacks can crit, you may want to use that more often, because that's going to save you some durability on your sword, because you'll be able to kill them with less wings. It's also going to help you kill them faster. And not only does that heavy attack work for swords, it also works for harvesting tools like pickaxes. So normally what you would do is just like hit each wall to destroy this building. But if you jump and use the heavy attack, you'll destroy more than one object with every swing. So I'm just going to go ahead and destroy this whole structure here using our jump attack. And as you can see, not only do we destroy the walls, but we also destroy the floors. We basically destroy everything that our pickaxe comes into contact with. And in my opinion, this is like one of the best ways to get rid of structures. So whether you put down a building that you no longer want, or if you come across an abandoned house like this one and you want to get rid of everything, you can just jump and use your heavy attack, and you should be able to destroy more objects with every swing doing it that way. So not only is the heavy attack good for regular weapons, but it's also really good when it comes to destroying buildings. Now this next tip is one that I learned recently, and I feel like maybe not a whole lot of people know about it. Apparently there is a way you can jump over very tall walls, and this isn't just a regular wall, it's actually a wall and a half, and we were able to jump over that entire thing without using stairs or a launch pad. And before you go running into the fire, hold on. At least let me explain how I did it first. Because if you jump into the fire like normal, you're just going to burn yourself. The way you're able to use the campfire to jump over tall walls is by rolling into it, not jumping on top of it. So you want to roll into it, and that's going to help you parkour over very tall walls. So if you build walls like all around your village, you can use campfires to get in and out of it. Or let's say, for example, if you get stuck somewhere in between two cliffs, you can try putting down a campfire if you have enough room and then rolling into it, and maybe you can get out of it that way. So yeah, that's another tip I don't think a whole lot of people know about. There is something you can do to sort of give yourself a first-person view. A lot of times I'll use this when I'm building custom builds and I'm having a hard time seeing. One thing I'll do is I'll just build a wall directly behind me, and then I'll stand next to that wall. And as you can see, that sort of takes your character out of the screen, and that allows you to see a lot better. And then once you place down whatever it is you wanted to place down, you can just turn around and destroy that wall. But yeah, that's sort of how you give yourself a first-person view. There's a couple of high-level materials and resources you can get in the grasslands. I'm going to show you the things you want to look out for. One of them are these blue barrels. Every time you destroy them, you get 10 copper bars. So that's sort of an easy way to get copper without having to go in the dry valley zone. You can also destroy these items if you're in need of flex wood. So you don't have to go to the dry valley for that material either. You can also get copper as well as obsidian by destroying these chests in the dry valley biome. So you don't have to go down in the caves for those either. And when it comes to the Frostlands biome, you can destroy these chests to get iron bars without having to go into the Frostland caves. And yeah, those are a couple of different ways to unlock some recipes without having to put yourself in danger. There's also some hidden recipes that I'm not sure everybody knows about, and they'll be labeled as encounters, like this dishwasher. Here's a couple of pictures that show all of the different encounters. I think some of the main ones that I want are the dishwasher, which we just got. Also want the dryer. I also really want that mailbox. But there's what all of the hidden recipes look like. You'll be able to get these recipes by opening specific chests. You can tell if it's going to give you a recipe or not because it'll have a bunch of that item surrounding it. So in this example, we have a bunch of blue barrels on top of it. So that lets me know I'm going to get the blue barrel recipe when I open this chest. Before you open the chest, you want to make sure you have at least one slot open in your inventory. And you may also want to destroy the items that are around the chest. I was able to get a lot of copper bars, like 5 or 6 stacks of copper bars, by destroying the blue barrels on top of this chest. But yeah, that's how I got the blue barrel recipe. It's also how I got the dishwasher recipe. Again, you want to make sure you have at least one spot open in your inventory. And again, don't forget to destroy all the items around that chest because there's going to be a lot of them. So we should get a lot of marble slab here. We got 110 marble slab by destroying those dishwashers around the chest. And yeah, that's the second one I found today. But it took me about 7 or 8 hours to find those two. So it is going to take a while to find all the recipes. A couple of things you can do is you can try looking for them at night. It's a lot easier to see the chests because they glow. Or you can take your seed from your survival world and make a sandbox world with it. And you can fly around and look for the chest in there. Once you find it, memorize the location and then search for it in your survival world. But yeah, for me, I found 2 of them in about 7 or 8 hours. But yeah, you pretty much just want to run from one abandoned house to the next and look for chests that are surrounded by items. I also want to share some tips I know in regards to the different wildlife and creatures in Lego Fortnite. Now, when it comes to rollers, the best way to avoid getting hit by them is by either dodging out of the way, or you can use your shield. If you do decide to use the shield, it'll stun them for a couple of seconds. And while they're stunned, they'll take double damage. So as you can see right there, we did 36 damage because they were stunned. When we hit them the normal way, we only deal 18 damage. But like I said earlier, you can also get a crit when you use your heavy attack. So I'm going to do it after I stun them. Now we did 72 damage. Wow, that's the most damage I've ever done with the sword. But here's the thing. When it comes to rollers, you can actually deal even more damage with the pickaxe. And this is just for rollers. So when we hit them with our normal attack, we deal 39 damage with our pickaxe instead of 18. When we hit them after using our shield, we deal 39 damage again. Let's see if I can block this. Oh, you can block that. That's good to know. I also want to see when we use our heavy attack how much we can deal. 78 damage. So when it comes to roly-polies, you want to use your pickaxe. You'll also want to use your shield and stun them if you have one. Otherwise, you can just dodge. But you definitely want to use your pickaxe because it deals more damage. And big shout out to this guy for telling us that tip in the last tip video. If you have any good Lego Fortnite tips, be sure to let us know in the comments below. I guess you can also make them go in the water. That's another way you can kill them easily. A couple of other cool things I want to point out with the shield is not only does it stop the rollers, you can also stop the brutes when they charge at you. Or they'll keep charging, it just won't deal any damage. That won't deal any damage. That little hand swipe he does, this will. That definitely deals damage. And this also deals damage. And when he spits at you, the shield's not going to protect you from that either. Eventually you will take damage from it if you stand in it too long. So the shield is useful for 2 out of the 5 different brute attacks. For the other ones you may just want to dodge. But for those other 2 attacks, you can just pull your shield up. It also protects against wolf attacks. It also protects against spiders. It can protect against these little guys. But the explosion won't. Moment of truth right here. Will it protect against blasters? Let's see. Oh, it will. We didn't take any damage at all that time. Looks like it can protect from the bear's attacks as well. So it's not just useful against rollers. When it comes to wolves, especially cursed wolves, you can either jump on top of a rock or any sort of structure and they won't be able to reach you or hurt you from there. And you can pull out your bow and kill them with your bow and arrow. Another way you can deal with wolves is by just running in bushes. For whatever reason, they won't attack you as long as you're inside of a bush. And when it comes to spiders, I would recommend that you just burn the house down and find a new place to live. So a couple other things I want to point out when it comes to brutes is that there is sort of an invisible barrier. There's sort of like a point where they'll no longer continue chasing you. Once you go beyond that barrier, the only way he'll be able to deal damage to you is by spitting at you. And that's really easy to dodge. So from here, all you have to do is just shoot your crossbow. And you don't really have to worry about all of the other attacks. A couple of other things I want to mention when it comes to brutes is that you can distract them using bait. Not only does meat work, but bones also work, especially when it comes to brutes. So if you want to distract them, those are a couple of different ways you can do it. And you can distract other creatures with those items as well. And here's how you deal with bears in Lego Fortnite. Here's what you got to do. You got to tame them, and then you got to ride them. You got to ride that bear. But yeah, the bear can't hurt you. You just stand there with your shield up. So I guess when it comes to bears, you could use crossbows, or you could use a shield and just swing in between hits. That'll prevent you from taking any damage from the bear. So yeah, those are all the tips I have when it comes to the different wildlife and different creatures. They also made some changes to the amount of resources required to produce food at the animal barns. I'm pretty sure everything used to be just 1-to-1. But when it comes to cows, well, the first thing I should point out, every once in a while, you'll randomly get wool. You don't really get it that often. If you really want wool, you can just get it from the sheep, which I'll show in a second. But every once in a while, you can get it from the cow. If you put in 1 snow, you'll get 1 ice cream. It takes 8 snowberry seeds to make 1 snowberry shake now. It takes 4 snowberries to make 1 snowberry shake. When it comes to spicy burgers, those require 3 spicy peppers now instead of 1. And you'll need 6 pepper seeds to make a spicy burger now. When it comes to the spicy burgers and snowberry shakes, I would say just go ahead and use the peppers and the snowberries, because there's no point in getting seeds from the grain mill. You're still going to get the same amount. And if you're one of those people that farms milk, then you may want to get your snowberry shakes and spicy burgers from the juicer. But if you don't farm milk, I would just use the peppers and the snowberries for the cow. And you can get milk by feeding the cow vines, wheat, corn, wheat grain, or corn seeds. I would say if you really want milk, you should probably put your crops into the grain mill, because you'll get a lot more seeds from it, and then feed either of these 2 seeds to your cow. That way you'll get the most amount of milk per crop. But yeah, these are the new values when it comes to the cow. Nothing's changed when it comes to the sheep. If you put in 1 vine, you'll get 1 wool. If you put in 1 wheat or wheat grain, you'll get 1 wool. And if you put in 1 corn or 1 corn kernel, you'll get 1 wool. And if you want to get the most wool per crop, you'll want to use either wheat grain or corn kernels. I'm pretty sure everything else is going to give you fertilizer. Y'all don't want that shit. When it comes to chickens, everything is still 1-to-1. If you put in 1 vine, you'll get 1 feather. If you put in a pepper seed or a spicy pepper, you'll get a fried egg. And when it comes to making eggs, you can get them by feeding them raspberries, raspberry seeds, slapberry seeds, snowberry seeds, corn kernels, and wheat grain. Each of these will get you 1 egg. So that's all the good stuff you can get from the chicken. When it comes to rams, you want to either feed them vines, wheat grain, corn, or corn kernels. You'll get 1 heavy wool for every one of those items. So wheat grain, corn kernels, and vines are probably the best items to use. And here's everything that the pig can eat. So everything on the first row, which is wheat grain, vines, corn kernels, slapberry seeds, pumpkin seeds, snowberry seeds, slapberry. All of these items can get you a slurp mushroom. It's at a 1-to-1 ratio. The pig can also get you slurp juice. In order to get that, you'll have to feed it 5 raspberries or 10 raspberry seeds. Out of these 2, I would say just go ahead and throw in the raspberries. You don't even need to put it in the grain mill, because it's going to get you the same amount. But when it comes to slurp mushrooms, you may want to go with the seed or the corn kernels or pumpkin seeds, wheat grain. You may want to go with one of the seeds, because that's going to help you get more slurp mushrooms per crop. Technically, you can feed your farm animals other things, but they only produce fertilizer. And for those who don't know, you can throw all of your unwanted items into your campfire if you want to get rid of it. That's usually where I throw all of my unwanted weapons that I pick up while exploring. The next tip I want to go over are which resources respawn and which ones don't. Now, in my personal experience, the only ones that are pretty much guaranteed to respawn are trees, and to be specific, the smaller trees. Again, in my experience, when you destroy anything else, usually it won't respawn. I did try to look up an official answer, and I found this on Reddit. Not entirely sure how accurate it is, but according to this post, which I found on Reddit, apparently small granite stones can respawn. These little small wooden piles can also respawn. Small trees can also respawn. Apparently bushes can also respawn, which I didn't know. And plantations like corn, berries, pumpkins can also respawn. That also includes frost pine. Dude, I'm making a video here. I'm working it. Now, as for the resources that don't respawn, those include the big trees, the ones that sort of separate from the trunk. So like that one I just destroyed, that'll never respawn. It also includes big rocks, like these two, as well as all of the resources that you can get down in the 3 different biome caves. So it includes marble, knotwood, flexwood, rough amber, rough ruby, obsidian, copper, bright core, iron, malachite, and rough sapphire. And I have no idea why I said iron like that. But again, in my experience, it's mainly just smaller trees like this one. If you want to see how to destroy these short trees for good, be sure to check out the link that's in the description. They also added a new glider recently, and I'm just going to quickly point out the differences between the new one and the old one. When it comes to crafting, the newer one's going to be easier to make because it only requires wood, wool, and silk, and those are materials you can get from the grasslands. And when we compare it to the old glider, that one requires flex wood, wool, and silk fabric, which you need a loom table for. So when it comes to early game, the basic glider is definitely better. And if you have stamina turned off in your world, the basic glider is better in that situation as well. Because again, it requires easy materials to craft it, and it lasts just as long as the regular glider. But it's not going to be as good when it comes to worlds that have stamina turned on. So here's what the basic glider looks like in a world where you have the stamina turned on. See how long it lasts. And I counted 18. So I believe it lasts for about 17 or 18 seconds. And here's what the regular glider looks like now after the update. And we'll see how long this one lasts. Basically, it feels like they buffed the old glider to where it lasts a lot longer now compared to before. And we were in the air for a total of 50 seconds before we ran out of stamina with the upgraded glider. So it lasts almost 3 times as long compared to the basic glider. So if you have stamina turned on, you definitely want to try to get the upgraded glider. If you have it turned off, you can just stick with the basic glider. And speaking of gliders, there are ways you can extend the duration. All you have to do is put your glider away, swing your pickaxe, and then pull your glider back out. And if you look at the stamina bar, you'll notice that it stops depleting whenever you swing your pickaxe. So this way you can sort of extend the amount of time you're in the air. And you can also do the same thing in the water. But when you're in the water, all you have to do is jump and then use your pickaxe. And as soon as you land in the water again, you just want to jump again and use your pickaxe again. And that's going to help you save on stamina whenever you're swimming and whenever you're using your glider. I also want to explain how to fast travel. You will have to have specific settings in order to fast travel. So for now, you may need to make a new world. But again, they've already posted saying that they're working on giving us the option to change our settings even after we've created our world. So if you don't feel like making a new world to get fast travel, you may be able to add it to your existing world in the future. And I believe this will work for every mode except for expert. But yeah, in order to add fast travel, all you need to do is turn off the drop inventory upon elimination setting. This way, whenever you get killed, you'll respawn wherever your bed was while keeping your entire inventory. So basically what you would just do, you would travel as far as you want to, and whenever you're ready to go back to your village, you go ahead and either kill yourself or let one of the creatures kill you. That way you don't have to walk all the way back, and you'll be able to keep everything you farmed up to that point. Also, when it comes to settings, the only one I would recommend that you turn off are stamina. And again, if you want to fast travel, you should also turn off drop inventory. But in my survival world, I have everything turned on except for stamina. And the last thing I wanted to point out is that if you ever find any power cells that are about to run out of energy, or if you have one in your car that's about to run out of energy, you can use it to make weapons at the rebel workbench. So instead of throwing it away or using the entire thing, you may want to save it and use it to craft either the bowcaster, the E11, or the DL44, because it doesn't matter how much energy is left in the power cell. It doesn't matter whether it's full or not. You'll still be able to craft a weapon. So if you ever find one that's about to run out of energy, you may want to keep it if you like crafting Star Wars weapons. And that sums up all of the tips I have for this one. If there's any good tips that you all know about that I didn't mention, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Before I go, I did want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's been using Creator Code A1, and just want to say thank you for your support. Anyways, I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and thanks for, oh shit, what's going on with my cars? Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.